Hello everyone, this is Nathan Sobek with SobiSource.com. Today we're going to be covering Arduino IDE. This is going to be kind of a basic course, almost a 101 if you will. I'm going to cover a few things. But majoritively what I'm making this video for is it seems that people have the largest issue with using the third-party libraries. I can't tell you how often people come to me for help because they've either downloaded my project file or someone else's project file, or they just bought a device and they're trying to understand how to use it. And they always come to me and say, well, I'm getting an error, like for example with on an LCD display, whether it be from Adafruit or SparkFun or Seed Studio or even just an eBay one, or just whatever device they're using. And they always come to me and say, I'm getting all these errors. In like an example of the TFT display, they'll be like, oh, well, it's saying that initiate TFT or initiate like LCD is throwing errors and says cannot be defined. Well, that's because those function calls are defined within the library. And if it's throwing you an error saying this is undefined, then that means it's unable to define the library. And I can't tell you how many times people come to me and say, well, I've gotten the libraries. And then I have to go through and repeat myself 100 times with 100 different people saying the same thing, which just consists of, did you put them in the right place? This isn't really a rant. It's just, and I understand. I started too. When I started, there's a small learning curve, and sometimes it's just putting the thing in the exact right spot in the exact right way. I'm sure even with your experience with programs, that they're all kind of picky in that way. So this isn't a matter of people can't do this. Sometimes just seeing it makes it easier. And that's kind of how I feel about it. And I love to show. If I can help somebody, if I even help one person, then the video's worth it. That's how I feel about it. You may see some other things along the way that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you did, and this is just a refresher course. So I guess I've talked enough. Let's just start with some on where to get the Arduino IDE. So simple enough, right? I'm typing Arduino into Google, go to software, and then boom. Now this is the most recent version as of March 2016, or excuse me, 2015. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll just click the Windows installer, or in this case you can use the zip file, which is, it doesn't install, it just runs from a folder. This is what I commonly do, though, because I work from multiple machines and I just keep it on a thumb drive and take it with me. But we're going to kind of cover the installer version, which is, like I said, they're both exactly the same. The only real difference is that the installer version actually installs it into your program files versus having the entire program inside of a folder. So you would just click, the installer, and of course it'll download, which I've already done. I think you'll just double click on your exe file.
Oh crap, it's back.
It'll give you the error, or not the error, but the please click this, and then follow through your prompts until it's finished. And now we're going to kind of open it up for the first time. Now once it opens up, you're going to be I'm presented with the basic layout here. This is where you'll start typing in your code. File, preferences. When you save your sketches, this is where they'll be saved. You'll notice here that it goes into your documents folder. I'm kind of a black sheep. I don't put anything in my documents folder if I have a better location. That's mostly because I have a backup network system that I put all my files on, so they're not located on my computer. But I digress. So this is where you would change it. So let's just say, for example, I would like to have all my projects on my desktop. I could just create a folder, call it projects, and then if I chose to change it there, I would just click browse, go to desktop, and select projects. So now whenever I save a project I'm working on, it'll be saved right here. And of course you can put this anywhere, but that's quickly how you do it. You change your font size. If you don't speak English, this is where you would change that. Hopefully you're speaking English watching my video, because that's what I'm currently speaking. Display line numbers. This is nice for when you get errors. I like to click that on. It's a little messier, but you can use external editor. Automatically associate .ini files with Arduino. Yeah, there's not really anything else I'm aware of that uses .ini. You can check that or uncheck that if you'd like. if you do check this, anytime you download a project file and it's labeled .ino, you can just double click on it and it'll automatically open up Arduino. This one works the best, however, if it's installed. If it's just to put in a folder, then it won't actually know where the program location is, FYI. Save when verifying or uploading, all that's good. You can change way more crazy options, the colors and stuff inside there. So we're going to click OK. So here we are. So you want to work on an LCD from, let's just use an example of Adafruit. It's going to be the same whether it be from SparkFun or Arduino or just wherever you get your device from. Let's say we want to work on a LCD from Adafruit. So we're going to need a library from Adafruit. So we're going to jump back on the web. And we're going to go to Adafruit. So we're going to talk about installing a third-party library, where to put it, all that wonderful stuff. Where are there? I'm going to use... Am I blind? Oh yeah, here we go. I guess I am blind. I'm going to do this for their 2.8 LCD, which I cannot seem to find now. Ah, there we go. That'll work. Yay, there's your screen. I swear I'm not shamelessly plugging Adafruit. I do use a lot of their stuff, though. So here we go. So it takes you to one of these. If you haven't used GitHub before, it's pretty simple. This just gives you a preview of everything that's already inside. You'll just come over here, click download zip, save your file. We're going to save it to my desktop. You know, that way it's easier for you guys to see what I'm doing, but you can save it anywhere. We're going to click save. Boom, we're done. Okay, so now we have their library. This is their graphics, their GFX library. This is their newest one. So here you can see we've downloaded it. We're just going to unzip it. I'm using WinRAR, so if you have the same, it'll look very close to mine. If you don't, you'll be using regular RAR, which you can do the same thing. You can open with your zip program of choice. So I'm just going to extract it here. Okay. Now once you open it up, you'll have this folder inside. This is all the library stuff. So we're going to go back out. I like to change these so they kind of fit the same naming convention as what's inside. I get rid of the library and master just because I like... Well, you'll understand in just a second. So this is the actual folder that we need. This contains all the libraries, the examples, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to minimize this for the moment.
Minimizing.
Now, where Arduino stores its libraries, if you installed it, is in the programs folder. It doesn't matter whether you're on x80, whether you're on a 32-bit or 64-bit. If you're using a 64-bit, which I am, then well, let me just show you here and talk about it as I go. If you're on a 32-bit, which I don't think too many people are these days, but there are a few, then there'll just be a regular programs file. But if you have an x86 one, then that's what it's going to be. Program files on my system are 64-bit native. So it'll be whatever your native is. I hope that makes sense. Go into there, go into Arduino. Now you'll see one labeled library. Please don't be confused with lib. Lib is completely different than libraries. Lib is for drivers, etc. Well, even though there's one for drivers too, but lib is for the actual Arduino IDE itself, not for the sketches. So you open up libraries. This is where all of your definition files are. This is where it needs to go. So we will open up the file
Making it full screen.
File that we downloaded, and this is where you will place. Now remember, this is one folder out of all the folders or all the files inside, and we're going to take this and just drag it. Now you could also right click, copy, paste. It'll ask you because you're putting it into your hard drive.
Oh crap, it's back.
Click yes. Boom, you're done. We can close these. Now, here's the most important part. Arduino checks what libraries are installed when it starts, and that's all that it uses. So if you've made changes, you have to restart the program in order for it to see the newly installed stuff. So you close that, you'll restart, not, or you just restart the software. Now once you're in here, you can go back into File, you can go into Sketchbook, Examples, and now, which are kind of going off the screen, there we go, you will see TIFT LCD. Now this is the Adafruit version. Don't be confused with TIFF, because that's the one that comes with 1.6 apparently. I'm still using, I think, 1.2, so I haven't really played with these yet. But in the case of the Adafruit stuff, you're going to be using the TIFF LCD. Okay, and actually, if you want to make sure that you don't get confused, you can change that. Let's go back into your C, go back into your program files, and go back into Arduino, back into your libraries, and you can change this right here. ADA. Let's do this. ADA. There we go. Continue.
Oh, crap.
So now I just changed the folder name. That's all that I did. Click back out. Restart the program again. File. Examples. Oops. Files. Examples. And now you'll see it's labeled TFT LCD ADA. So that's what's involved in installing third-party libraries. That's it. That's where it has to go. That's where it has to be. Doesn't so much matter how it's labeled. Although actually don't hold me to this, but I don't think there could be spaces. So that may be one thing you should keep in mind if you rename it. I'm pretty sure there can't be spaces. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure. So I know in the older versions it absolutely mattered, which is why you see me use underscores. So let's just open up something. Let's do a graphics test. It always opens up a new window. Kind of a peeve, but it does. Close the old one. And here we go. So, first things first, whatever Arduino you're using, you want to make sure you set up the compiler properly. While you're working with the code, it doesn't matter, but when you just want to go test it and verify it, you don't want to forget later. So, let's just set it up for, let's go to Board, Arduino Uno. If you're using a Mega, there's going to be a Mega right here. Wow, they've actually changed quite a bit of this. I have not used 1.6. I think it'd be safe to say if you're using the older Mega 1280 or, because apparently it says or, Mega 2560, they've put them into the same category. That's interesting, because it used to be separate before. Excuse me. I digress. So we're going to go into Uno. That's it. Then if you have a Arduino plugged in, it's going to give you a port number. I'm going to say this, almost 90% of the time, it's never going to be COM1. COM1's almost always there. It'll probably be whatever the other is. Not every case, but most of the time. Now you're set up for your Uno board. Now, you'll see here that it calls, well, actually up here you see that it includes the Adafruit library stuff. This is where it includes the library from the one we just installed. Without these, specific calls from that library will not work. A good example is TFT begin. Okay, this is only defined within Adafruit's library. I think the native one probably uses TFT initiate, which is the same thing, but they probably have their own functions. So if that library is not installed, it's going to throw you all kinds of errors for that. And serial printing is native. This is probably a bad example. This one does a lot of. There we go. TFT.fillScreen. That's a call from the graphics library. TFT draw rectangle or rect in this case. Yes, those are all specific to the Adafruit library. So if you're getting errors for any of those calls, it's because you didn't put the library in the correct place. Um, I think that's enough for today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can really show you. Your serial monitor, which communicates over serial through the USB port that you chose. This is your baud rate down here. 9600 is typically the default. You can actually change it to a faster speed. I don't know why you'd need to, but you can see in your sketch that's always defined right here at serial.begin, and this is what the baud rate is set at. So you want to make sure if you're trying to communicate with it that this is set to the same, that you've programmed the Arduino to be running at. I think that makes sense. So if you wanted to run it at 48, you could. It's slower, but you just have to make sure that you change it here before you upload. Let's just verify to make sure that I have the libraries installed correctly. Uh-oh. I got an error. Graphics text.pde, fatal error, Adafruit_gfx.h, no file, such file or directory, compilation terminated. Well, that is most interesting, isn't it?
Making it full screen.
Okay, well, it would appear we have found our first bug. So apparently, I had to pause there for a few minutes to figure out the best way to explain it and figure out why, actually. So it turns out that what we downloaded was the Adafruit TFT LCD library, but what the website fails to include is the notification that it requires their GFX library as well. I've actually notified them of that. I'm sure that'll be fixed soon. So this is something that can happen to, a novice. It happens. You would have installed what their website told you to install and still been throwing errors and not knowing why. But you'll see what it's throwing an error for is not the TFT, which it found, because this is the include, but the graphics library. So what we need to do now is go ahead and go back into
Making
the
it full screen.
browser. We're just going to go over to Google. Google is your friend. And we're just going to type in Adafruit GFX, which is the first result. Same thing as before. Download zip. File save. I saved the desktop.
Minimizing.
Now we'll bring this up here. We'll extract. Open this up. There it is. Same as before. You don't have to do this, but I like to do this. Get rid of all the extra words. It's a little cleaner. And there is the Adafruit GFX that it's looking for. So we go back to our C, or your root file. Go back to x86, Arduino, into libraries. Remember, not lib. And we are just going to drag this right inside. Make sure it does not go inside of a folder. This will also mess it up. Right click that. Click continue.
Oh, crap. It's back.
Say yes. Now we're done. So, unfortunately, as before, we have to restart the program to find it. Do we want to save changes? You know what? We will save changes. We will save this. This is marked read only, so you'll need to save to the sketch to another location. That's because it's an example file. It'll ask me where to save it, and you'll notice it goes into projects. I'll name this graphic test. Click save. Now you'll see inside our projects is, in fact, that test.ino. So now we open this back up. You can go to File. Now we could go back down to Examples, and you'll see that we could click it again. But since we actually created one, we can see that it's in our sketchbook of things that we've saved. So we can open it back up, close off the original because it opens a new window every time. Now, if we do verify, and you also notice that when you change your board, it'll always default to the last board that you chose. as long as nothing has changed. Now we'll click verify, and we should be good to go. We're good. Okay. I hope that helps a few people out. I know it took a little bit longer than I expected, and you actually got to go along with me as I found a bug. I'm sure that'll be fixed soon. And so I'm Nathan with SobiSource.com. I hope that this has helped you. If it has, please just give me a like, throw a comment on the video, say thank you. That's really all I'm here for. I appreciate the thank yous. If I've helped even one person, then I know my time has been well spent. So without further ado, you guys have a nice day and good luck.